All right, let's talk about the invisible system that got you the phone in your hand, the coffee in your mug, and pretty much everything else you own. We're talking about the global supply chain and what happens when that giant, intricate machine just grinds to a halt.
So let's just jump right in with a big question. I mean, really think about it. What happens when the system that delivers nearly everything in our lives simply stops moving?
The reality is pretty simple, and honestly, kind of stark. When the supply breaks, everything changes. So today, we're going to follow the story from that first tiny crack in the chain all the way to the final economic shockwave. Okay, so first things first, we've got to understand the machine itself. Let's call this section the world's conveyor belt, because that's really what it is, a massive, invisible machine that powers our entire world.
So what are we actually talking about here? Well, at its core, the global supply chain is this gigantic, planet-spanning network that turns raw materials into a finished product sitting on your doorstep. It's this constant, flowing dance between factories, ships, trucks, and stores.
And, when it works, the whole journey looks deceptively simple, right? A product goes from the factory floor, gets onto a container ship, makes its way to a local store, and then finally into your hands. It's this perfect, seamless flow, a global rhythm that, let's be honest, most of us never even thought about until it stopped working.
But what happens when that rhythm gets interrupted? Well, in this next section, we're going to see just how fragile this whole system really is. Because in a chain this long, it only takes one weak link for the entire thing to just shatter.
And that crack, it often starts with a single, sudden moment. A critical failure. A complete break.
This slide shows you exactly what that looks like. It's the same journey for a product, but now it's broken. The flow from the factory is cut off right at the shipping stage. And that red X? That could be anything. A port that's closed down, a factory that has to shut down, a natural disaster. Whatever it is, it suddenly stops the movement of goods.
And the first things we feel, well, they're probably things you've noticed yourself. All of a sudden, there are delays for stuff you've ordered. You start seeing shortages on store shelves. And you get these bottlenecks where goods just pile up because they can't move forward. The system isn't flowing anymore. It's completely clogged.
Now, all of this leads directly to something that hits every single one of us right on the wallet, the inflation connection. Because those shortages don't just mean empty shelves, they mean higher prices. Let's dig into why.
It really boils down to some basic economics, and this visualizes it perfectly. On the left, you see supply plummeting. There are just fewer goods to go around. But over on the right, demand is still high, or maybe even going up. You've got a ton of people all wanting to buy the same few items. It's the classic case of too much money chasing too few goods.
And the direct result of that imbalance? Well, it's the one word that's been all over the economic headlines: inflation.
This bar chart makes it crystal clear. Before the disruption, prices are stable. But after that break in the supply chain, that price can absolutely skyrocket. And that's not just a number on a chart. That's the sticker shock you feel at the grocery store or at the gas pump.
But believe it or not, higher prices for you and me are really just a beginning. That one disruption sends shockwaves through the entire global system. And that brings us to our next section, the global ripple effect. This is where one little break triggers a massive cascade of failures.
Right, so you might be thinking, okay, I get it, prices go up. But this is where the story gets way bigger. This is where the real systemic impact starts to unfold across the globe. Think about it. What happens when a car factory can't get its hands on microchips or a construction company can't get lumber? Production just grinds to a halt. A 15% drop in factory output isn't just a stat on a screen. It means actual assembly lines are just sitting there, quiet, because the essential parts they need are stuck somewhere in that broken chain.
And here's the kicker. The problem just keeps compounding. Those bottlenecks mean that even when new stuff is made, it faces these insane delays. A journey that used to take a month can suddenly stretch to 40 days longer, which just further starves factories and store shelves. And you better believe the financial markets are paying attention. All this disruption in the physical world creates massive uncertainty in the financial one. It drives up market volatility because when nobody knows when parts will arrive or when things will get back to normal, investors get really nervous and economic forecasts become a total guessing game. So what do you get when you mix all of this together? All these cascading failures? One word really sums it up: chaos. The system, which was once so predictable and orderly, becomes erratic and completely unstable.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? In our final section, let's look at a system reimagined. Because these breakdowns did more than just cause delays. They really pulled back the curtain on this hidden fragility that's right at the heart of our interconnected world.
You know, we tend to think about the economy in these abstract numbers and charts, but it's not. It's a very real, physical system of moving parts. And if there's one thing we've all learned from this, it's that when a single link in that global supply chain breaks, the entire system feels it. It's the ultimate reminder that in our globalized world, we're all connected by this invisible and, as we now know, surprisingly fragile chain.